Okay. I'm going to hit that button now.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:03. With great respect and humility, we acknowledge and honor the lands of the Snuneymuxw people. The Snuneymuxw people maintain their profound, unique, and spiritual connection to the land through ageless traditions, teachings, stewardship, and reciprocity. I'd like to also acknowledge that we serve the communities of Staminas and Snuneymuxw. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes in order of the agenda? Seeing none, is there any objection to approving the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda is approved unanimously. Thank you. 6.1, new business, Secretary Treasurer Mark Walsh, preliminary annual budget. You're muted.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, board, staff, and public. So this evening, there's two motions before the board for consideration. First motion is to pass a bylaw and have all three readings this evening. So what that means is that if trustees unanimously pass this motion, the budget bylaw would be able to be passed and completed this evening. If there is not unanimous consent for that motion, then we would be coming back for another meeting. Voting unanimously for the readings of the three bylaws does not require trustees to vote in support of the budget, so you could vote in support of three readings and then against the budget if a trustee was so inclined. So with that background, I just wanted to quickly take a moment to thank Director Sutton and Associate Secretary Treasurer Hambley for the hard work that they've done in creating the budget over the last number of months. Also like to recognize the feedback and the questions that we've received from our partners, from members of the community, from our students. Those comments, those questions, those concerns are not only feeding into this budget, but they will certainly be feeding into future budgets. And one of the outcomes, I believe that I've mentioned to the board before and mentioned to our partners, is that we fully intend to have some fall sessions for, I guess we would call it budget literacy sessions to show how the budget's getting made and the inputs that are going in there, and open those sessions up as widely as people have interest. So looking really forward to that. From a personal perspective, I also just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone for this process. It's given me a great opportunity to get to know the district quite well in a short period of time, and certainly see what the priorities are and how those priorities align with the strategic plan. So this evening, we're not presenting any additional information because we have had a number of sessions that we've presented the budget as proposed. We have one small additional document in here that is just an outline of the COVID-related considerations for the budget to show the ministry. So for instance, conservative enrollment estimates, conservative international student program estimates, investment income going down, the fact that we're proactively creating a COVID response fund, the fact that we have the sufficient funding to be able to support technology for our students and our teachers and other partners if required, if need be, as well as the fact that we do anticipate a relatively significant surplus at the end of the year, as we reported last week, to be able to assist in mitigation in September. So that's on page 41 of 53, and that's the only additional 56, sorry, only additional document that you see this evening. So with that, you see the recommended motions, and obviously happy to answer any questions with respect to the budget.
Do we have any questions? So seeing none, I will read the first motion to be entertained this evening. And we'll see if there is someone that would like to move it. That the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, give the School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith 2020/21 budget bylaw, all 3 readings at 1 meeting today, the 17th of June, 2020. Is there a mover? Moved by Trustee Berzovich, seconded by Trustee O'Neill. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question on the motion. Is there anyone opposed to the motion? Seeing none, the motion is carried unanimously. I will read the first motion for the bylaw. A bylaw of the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, called the Board to adopt the annual budget of the Board for the fiscal year 2020/21 pursuant to Section 113 of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C 412, as amended from time to time, called the Act. The Board has compiled with the provisions of the Act respecting the annual budget adopted by this bylaw. This bylaw may be cited as School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith Annual Budget Bylaw for fiscal year 2020/21. The attached statement 2 showing the estimated revenue and expense for the 2020/2021 fiscal year and the total budget bylaw amount of $166,047,072 for the 2020/21 fiscal year was prepared in accordance with the Act. Statement 2, 4, and Schedules 2 to 4 are adopted as the annual budget of the Board for the fiscal year 2020/21, read for the first time this 17th day of June 2020. Is there a mover? Trustee Berzovich has moved it. It's been seconded by Trustee Barron. Any discussion? Seeing none, is there any opposition to the proposed motion? Oh, I have one discussion question before we move the question. Trustee Keller.
Thank you, Chair. So just a comment. I appreciate all the work that's gone into the budget and the efforts that's gone into this. I guess my hope that I would have liked to have seen this go, and hopefully next budget year, is that we get more of an opportunity to set priorities and discuss ideas before we see the first draft. This year and the year prior, I know that we were, for the most part, presented with a draft that was a status quo budget, and my perspective as an individual trustee is I'd like the opportunity, and going forward, if possible, to have some input to that. So thank you. That's not enough for me not to support the budget, but I would just like to share that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Berzovich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also state that I am going to support this budget. I do want to. The one concern I have is, two concerns I have is along the lines of Trustee Keller, but I would also say that I would hope that in the future, one of the things I'd like to see is a bit more follow-up in general of seeing more data around some of our programs, particularly the changes that we're making to our coordinators. We haven't had a good update on all of our different coordinators and how those are from learning services and how those services are working and the effectiveness in a while. So I would hope to see that next year. But those concerns aren't enough to make me vote against the budget at this point. And I give you all a lot of credit for the work you've achieved, Mr. Walsh, given that you came in a little late to the game. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, is there any opposition to the motion as presented? The motion carries unanimously. We'll move to the second reading. A bylaw of the Board of Education of School District number 68, Nanaimo Ladysmith, called the Board to adopt the annual budget of the board for the fiscal year 2020/21 pursuant to section 113 of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412 is amended from time to time called the Act, read for the second time the 17th day of June 2020. Do I have a mover? Moved by Trustee Keller, seconded by Trustee O'Neill. Is there any discussion on the second motion? Seeing none, is there any opposition to carrying the motion? The motion carries unanimously. And now the third reading. A bylaw of the Board of Education of School District Number 68 Nanaimo Ladysmith called the board to adopt the annual budget of the board for the fiscal year 2020-21 pursuant to section 113 of the School Act, RSBC 1996, C412 is amended from time to time called the Act, read for a third time and adopted this 17th day of June 2020. If I could get a mover. Moved by Trustee Wilkinson. Seconded by Trustee Keller. Is there any opposition to carrying the third reading? Seeing none, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Takes us to item 7 on our agenda, an adjournment. If I could get a motion to adjourn. Moved by Trustee O'Neill, seconded by Trustee Barron. Is there any opposition to adjournment? I hope not. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned. It's 6:15.